Before I joined Riskrise, I was door-to-door for around 2.5, 3 years, had my own team, leveling up to have my own company in direct sales. I said, what's the harm of upskilling, getting another external mentor? With door-to-door, I could have easily gone to a position where I was making 150K a year. Easily, right? Had my team, they did the knocking on doors for me, bit of managing, might jump out a few times, for example. However, at the end of the day, my goals was always, and everyone in the office knows me for this, Malaysia, remote, traveling the world. Then the few days after that, I met Marwan in a retreat in London. I said, sign me up right there and then. He gave.
Why? What was the turning point for you to be like, okay, halas, I'm leaving my door-to-door job and I went to this retreat, I'm sold. Like, what? Why?
I'll tell you why. I mean, it's a good question they ask. Like, I didn't think about the answer until you told me this. It's a cheat code. Like, when I saw high ticket sales, I was like, this is a cheat code. You telling me that I don't have to go cold, I don't have to do X, Y, and Z. I don't have to manage a team of 15 guys that are from zero, brother.
What was your experience once like you came into the platform and the community and you seen the mentorship and what it was involved?
But then it's confidence in others, and I saw these other, obviously, like the other
success stories,
mashallah.
And now you're a success story,
alhamdulillah. So I said, okay, cool, they were able to do it, so I derived confidence from them. Okay, cool. And then the third part, I saw the systems was broken down. They help you land an opportunity, these certificates, all the stuff that we have in the program. Broke it down. For me, it was just like a no-brainer. Now it's just down to me, and I can bet on myself every single time. Alhamdulillah. So when I joined, within my first 2 weeks, I landed 2 offers. That same month, as a setter, I did 130 sets, book set calls for the month.
Allahumma barik.
Right? And out of that, I was able to generate around 100, I believe it was like 100K in revenue.
MashaAllah.
Around 100K. I think it was a little bit extra, just a bit under.
Okay.
And then from there, I was able, with incentives and everything like that, in my first proper month on offer, alhamdulillah, make 10K with incentives for myself.
MashaAllah.
Right?
Allahumma barik.
Alhamdulillah.
What happened? What changed in your life once you've made that 10K online and you're like, oh, this is online money, can be anywhere in the world. So what changed when you made that first batch of money coming in? What shifted? What happened?
I bought a one-way ticket out of the UK.
Straight away?
One-way ticket out of the UK. I started with 1 month in Egypt. Then after that, I believe I went to Qatar for around 7 to 10 days.
Inshallah.
Had some family over there. After that, I was like, why not stop off in the Maldives?
Why not? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, we bring another success story, alhamdulillah. Adam Kareem, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, how are you?
Glad to have you, bro. So today, inshallah, we're going to be talking about your story, man, and how you came across Riskrise, even beforehand, your story, and the result or the success that you've had from getting into remote high-ticket sales. And I know the guys would love to know like how much you made and the journey and the transformation that happened. So if you don't mind, bro, telling us what's your background, where have you came from?
Okay, so we'll take it back to where it started. So before I joined Riskrise, I went on a retreat with Marwan. This was to Ireland, right? We had an island retreat. My brother, he put me on. I know a few brothers that knew about Riskrise. And I said, khalas, if I'm already doing what I'm doing already, which was direct sales, I was door-to-door for around 2.5, 3 years, had my own team, leveling up to have my own company in direct sales. I said, what's the harm of upskilling, getting another external mentor, for example, right? So I joined with the intention of upskilling, you know what I mean, seeing what's there on the other side, having just expanding my horizons, they say. I went to the retreat with Marwan. I spent 3 days with him, spent 3 days with the team. Few of the closers that were there in Riskrise already. Marwan was dealing with certain situations and explaining the industry and just this mentality stuff. And I was like, for me, I was like, this stuff is, it makes sense. And I just felt like it was like a walk in the park. Like, it's not rocket science, right? You break it down, you have this many calls, you build a skill set. If you close 1 out of 5, this is the outcome you get. So what I did after, I came back from that retreat. I left my previous role.
What were you doing before?
Door-to-door sales. So I was in door-to-door sales.
How did you get involved into that?
Well, I was on Universal Credit.
Okay.
It's a funny story, right? So I used to be hopefully the taxman doesn't see this, right? But I was a reseller. I was making decent money. And I was also working like this 9-to-5 job that didn't require any effort from me. So I was just doing everything. And then, I was on Universal Credit at the same time because I left that job. I kept the reselling stuff going. So what ended up happening is they kept telling me you need to apply for jobs.
Okay.
And what's happening, after a certain point, they get upset with you. They're like, Adam, you're 22 years old, you've got a marketing degree, you're healthy, you're smart. How do you not have like a proper job like all these years? I was like, the market is just so tough out here, man. But I didn't mind that. I was doing my own thing before. So I went on Indeed because what they do is they force you to go on Indeed and actually show them proof. Universal Credit, they're actually making applications. So I sent an application, direct sale. I don't even know what I applied for. I got a response back. I ended up going to the office. I didn't realize it was door-to-door at the time. And then, when I realized it was door-to-door, a lot of people, they'd leave. But for me, I was like, this stuff's pretty interesting. Why is everybody so excited and happy with the sales environment? I was like, okay, let me just investigate this a bit. After a while, I saw like the challenges of it and I just liked that. I was like, okay, cool, this is different.
Interesting.
Interesting.
That's an interesting mindset because a lot of people would be scared of door-to-door because like, oh, I'm going to a random person's house, I'm knocking doors. But you seen it as a challenge, as something exciting, as a new venture
Exactly.
to get started. Okay. So
Exactly.
what happened from there? Like from door to door, why did you want to leave door to door? Like why didn't you like stay doing it and wanting to look at something like
Yeah.
remote high ticket sale, for
Yeah, it's a
example?
good question because it got to a point where, because I was there for quite a while, I've already had the reputation.
Yeah.
I was invited to places like Spain, France multiple times, a few different locations. So I had that comfort zone there already. But it got to a point in my life where I said, what are my goals and what are the steps that I need to take for me to get towards my goals? With door to door, I could have easily gone to a position where I was making 100, 150K a year. Easily, right? Had my team, they did the knocking on doors for me, bit of managing, might jump out a few times, for example. However, at the end of the day, my goals was always, and everyone in the office knows me for this, Malaysia, remote, traveling.
Traveling the world, yes.
Yeah, you know, that was, I
love
was a traveler. Even like in that kind of environment where people aren't usually allowed, I said, I'm self-employed.
Similar
I
to
don't
me,
care.
I love traveling solo, just going, seeing the world, man.
Exactly. And then so I moved my family to obviously like a Muslim country as well. So when it comes to the door-to-door kind of aspect, you're going to be tied down there for quite a long time. Right?
correct.
Even if I'm making 200, 300K, it doesn't matter what it is at the end of the day.
You're still stuck there.
What are my goals? My goals was never to be
Stuck in a door to door, yeah,
Exactly.
9 to 5, yeah.
So for me, I said, okay, cool. I can either stick to this, but it's never going to get me to my goals, for example.
Yeah.
Or now I'm introduced to kind of high-tech sales, knew briefly of it. After I go to Ireland, I probably have a better feel of it.
Yes.
I was like, khalas. Even if I take a step back and I'm not making 150, 100K, but I'm making just 50K a year, that's remote, online, and I could probably go to like a tax-free country and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And that's enough for me to live a good life. And that was like kind of the beginning of the thinking, like as a bare minimum, for example. For me, it was like, this aligns with my goals more than this, even though this is the bigger money, more money, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I just said, khalas, I put that tawakkul, had that tawakkul on Allah. I said, you know what? Like, I know myself. I know if I put my head down to it, for example, I'm gonna I can make it work. So after the island retreat, I left my door-to-door job literally the week after. Then the few days after that, I met Marwan in a retreat in London.
Yeah.
I said, sign me up right there and then. He gave.
Why? What was the turning point for you to be like, okay, halas, I'm leaving my door-to-door job and I went to this retreat, I'm sold. Like, what? Why?
I'll tell you why. I mean, it's a good question they ask. Like, I didn't think about the answer until you told me this.
Yeah.
It's a cheat code.
Why?
Like, when I saw high ticket sales, I was like, this is a cheat code. You telling me that I don't have to go cold, I don't have to do X, Y, and Z. I don't have to manage a team of 15 guys that are from zero, by the way, and then coach them up to be a certain level. So I didn't believe, right, but on like a bigger scale. So all you have to do is you learn the skill set, which just takes a bit of time, a bit of mentality. And then you go on an offer and you have 6 calls in a day, 5 calls, and 6 calls in a day. One of them doesn't show up, you have 5 calls left, you close one out of 5, 20% closing rate. That 20% closing rate is $500 if it's a 5,000 ticket item. And $500 if you made that in one day in an outdoor to the office, it's like you are the gong bell ringer legend, for example.
So you've seen
I just broke it.
You see the math and you're like, okay, this has higher leverage, more flexibility, more,
time for my other stuff as well.
100%, because you have started other ventures as well alongside getting into remote high ticket sales as well, that you wanted to fully pursue. But before we get into that, now that you've got into like remote high ticket, you got into Rizq Rise, you've seen, my co-founder Marwan, the sales trading, and then you finally made the decision to like pull the trigger and get in. What was your experience once like you came into the platform and the community and you seen the mentorship and what it was involved? How was your reaction?
I mean, one thing that I based my journey on wasn't on what the majority of people are doing. They gave me an example. This person made this much. This person had any sales background. This is the potential you can do. Khalas, why can't I do that? I didn't join and say, why are these guys not on the coaching calls? Why is it very dry here? Why is it wherever the periods that we might be going through, for example, I said, okay, cool. There's a success story out there. I know it works. I can make it work. Simple as that. No limiting beliefs at all. Like I remember Marwan was telling the story. He said it multiple times. I joined the course. I finished the course in 3 days. He said, you mad, man. You done it wrong. Do it again. Because I didn't do the mock and role plays and stuff like that. So I done it again. Next, took me like another 5, 6 days to finish the whole thing again. Looped it around. So yeah, that's what I did essentially. But yeah, the journey through there, I locked in.
What was that transition? So now you got the accountability, you got the coaching. You had that good mindset from the very start to not base other people's results to you. And you wanted to be fully accountable to your own results, which is very important because a lot of people think that, oh, this person has made 10K a month. I have to make 10K a month. Because of this and that. But you took a completely different route, which I love because the main reason why people fail because their mindset or how they actually execute. And then they look at other people, they're like, oh, but he's making this amount of money. Why am I not doing it? But they're not blaming themselves enough to actually like, hit that result, so to speak.
So I've actually got a sales gem. This is something that I've learned from the years I mentioned that I was getting from other places, right? When it comes to performance and results, number 1, from yourself, which is from past experience that you've been able to do in the past. So you're confident yourself you can make it work. Number 2, things are going tough, for example, and you haven't even got results yourself. You derive confidence from other people around you. These other people have done it, so that means it's a potential. That means I can do it as well. And then number 3, deriving confidence from systems. Like even if you don't know the person exactly there, but you know that it's a proven kind of method or system in terms of the industry industry itself and the kind of formula has worked, like in general, then as long as you have these three kind of factors, there's no reason why you should ever be able to fail. So for me, when I joined, I had confidence in myself because I knocked on doors. It's not, you know what I mean? It's a bit,
you had a bit of a background.
Yeah, a bit harder than, you know. So not only just that, like even like other ventures that you know that I've done, for example, I have confidence in myself. If I want a result, I know I can get it, for example. It didn't really faze me. It wasn't about am I going to get, it's about when. That's how I was doing it so far.
Beautiful.
Right?
And you just found the vehicle to be able to get you there.
The vehicle, right? So number one was confidence in myself. I already had you don't always have to have all three, by the way. Like one is more than enough. But then it's confidence in others. And I saw these other, obviously, like the other
success stories.
Success stories, mashallah.
And now you're a success story,
alhamdulillah. So I said, okay, cool. They were able to do it. So I derived confidence from them. Okay, cool. And then the third part, I saw the systems was broken down. They help you land an opportunity, these certificates, all the stuff that we have in the program. Broke it down. For me, it was just like a no-brainer. Now, it's just down to me. And I can bet on myself every single time, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
You know what I mean? So
okay,
that's why I made it kind of...
Walk me through that now. So now that you've decided to bet on yourself, you use the system, you use the mentorship, you use the accountability. How long did it take you to go from joining the program to landing your first role?
Okay.
And then what happened after that?
Okay. So just to let you know, from the journey, I had a lot of pressure on me. Why? Because I had to put myself in uncomfortable situations to be able to figure certain things out. Right, because I'm not going to derive money from certain places, etc. For myself, etc. So when I joined, I had a lot of, let's say, pressure on my shoulders to perform in a very, very fast pace. You know what I mean? So what ended up happening is when I joined, I didn't have no time to waste. But I like having my back against the wall, which is why I made perform. That's why I did certain stuff on purpose. So when I joined, within my first 2 weeks, I landed 2 offers. Right, one of them had such great potential. This one was someone that I outreached on Facebook. I didn't even know about this opportunity. I was like, khalas, I'm door to door. I go and I'll find these myself.
Find myself.
So
crazy.
So the first one was that. So I was on Meta. So I was on X, and I'll just like find tweets, Facebook, anything, just
find opportunities.
Find opportunities, right? And then this guy was like email marketing outreach, and it was like amazing systems and AI, and they've got proven results before. But when I joined, the guy on the interviewing call was like, wow. It was like at the end of it, it was like, if it's okay, can you teach me like how to close like you? And I've never done closing before. But in the interview process, that was the first thing. But the reason why that didn't succeed the best, because the campaigns got shut down, and they always had other ventures to kind of focus on. I had a bit of pressure myself. I was like, wow, I just spent like a whole week or 2 week waiting for this guy, for example. The next week after, so khalas, let me go DM on Instagram. Let me see what I can find. Start DMing people. And then someone reached out to me as a very, very good friend of mine now. 2 guys in the info space. And then I was closing for them, right? And after I started closing, I showed the value that I gave them, and I was like, managed the whole pipeline, set from the beginning, right? However, problem with them as well, they were doing something new. They were doing like cold outreach and also something they reached so.
You didn't make much money off it.
Not at all. So I was like, okay, cool. Like now I'm back to square one, basically. So very easily, like mentally, I just spent like 2 weeks and 3 weeks.
You've gone through the program, you went through the training, you went through a couple of offers, and you haven't seen success. Many people would give up. So what happened? What changed?
And then, I mean, what happened was I kept on applying. I kept on pushing. I think Marwan and you, they see this. And the best thing about high ticket sales is it's a win-win kind of game. If they see someone that has got the skill set opportunity, it's in their favor to put them in certain offers and things like 100%. That. Why? Because not only is there reputation, but there's also some commission structures for certain recruiters as well. So everyone wins in that kind of pie. So I got the call from Marwan. He said, hey, this is the biggest Muslim offer in the space. However, you'll have to become a, let's say, a setter, for example. And me, he knows that I'm the closer kind of type. But I said, you know what? I like the expert. I want to learn, especially with top performing offer. In that offer, we had a very big goal for the month, with like crazy targets, for example. When I joined, no experience at all based in that kind of space.
Yeah, in that field.
But one thing they have to understand, when you enter a new space, you have to outperform and outwork everyone else.
100%.
That same month, as a setter, I did 130 sets, book set calls for the month.
Allahumma barik.
Right? And out of that, I was able to generate around 100, I believe it was like 100K in revenue.
MashaAllah.
Around 100K. I think it was a little bit extra, just a bit under.
Okay.
And then from there, I was able, with incentives and everything like that, in my first proper month on offer, alhamdulillah, make 10K with incentives for myself.
MashaAllah.
Right?
Allahumma barik.
Alhamdulillah. So yeah, so that was my kind of first big shot. And we had around like over 20 kind of setters in the team at the time. And I was number 1 out of all of them.
Peace. You're the top performer.
Top performer.
Allahumma barik.
In terms of like, I got the most sets closed for the whole month, alhamdulillah. And the reason for that is just because like the kind of the work rate you do, it's like we hear the Hormozy thing, you create so much volume, it just negates.
It goes back to the saying as well, like if you have the right information, if you have the right system, the right information, and you don't execute on it with massive action or massive conviction, it doesn't matter what type of systems you have, you're not going to win.
Exactly.
And mashallah, you've taken initiative, you've taken the system, you've taken the information, you've took massive action, and you've seen this type of results. Now, can I ask you, what happened, what changed in your life once you've made that 10K online.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is online money. Can be
Yeah.
anywhere in the world. So
Yeah.
what changed when you made that first batch of money coming in? What shifted and what happened?
I think if you ask anyone in my circle, they knew straight away what I was going to do. Like whether it's door to door, whether it's family, I bought a one-way ticket out of the UK.
Straight away.
One-way ticket out of the UK, right? And I think everyone, it was very predictable of me, for example, right? So I bought a one-way ticket out of the UK. First thing I did was a lot of learning experience as well. It was my first time working remote, right? So I had to kind of figure things out, a lot of great experience, etc. But I started with 1 month in Egypt. Then after that, I believe I went to Qatar for around 7 to 10 days.
Inshallah.
Had some family over there. After that, I was like, why not stop off in the Maldives?
Why not?
Why not? You know, I was in the Maldives.
Traveling the world, I guess.
Yeah, traveling the world, alhamdulillah. I went to the Maldives, stayed there 4 days.
And you were still like setting and making money?
Yeah, I was still sitting and still working, alhamdulillah. And then after that, I went to Malaysia.
Yeah.
Malaysia, I stayed there for just under 2 months.
Inshallah.
And then in the middle of that, I said, I'm a bit bored of Malaysia. Let's go to Indonesia. I went to Lombok, alhamdulillah.
SubhanAllah.
But that was always kind of like, if anyone ever knows me, they know that I like to travel.
That was your dream.
Exactly.
To travel.
So obviously there's a lot of benefits and the pros and cons from doing that while balancing work at the same time, which I know how to maneuver better in the future, alhamdulillah.
100%.
But it kind of just made me realize I didn't have that limiting belief of not making money again, for example. Like really,
you have leverage because you have a skill now that you can rely on, that if you go to any offer or any other business, you have the leverage to come in, you can make money and you don't have to be in the UK anymore.
Exactly. And then I'm able to kind of perform at that level, especially when I put my head down to it. So, and then alhamdulillah, after that, then of course that is when I came back from Malaysia and I had the offer from that call from Marwan.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, yeah, cool, we're doing these ads, etc. I wanted to be a closer for the team. I was like, alhamdulillah, like I started there, I went out, ventured, and then I came back to my roots, for example.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen your potential. I've seen that you're crushing it out, that you're doing your thing, and like, this guy is talented, Allahu Barik.
No.
Not only talented, but you put in the work, bro. You put in massive action. We've seen your proactiveness. It's like, this guy needs to come and work for the Zakhwais. And hence why, alhamdulillah, now you're a manager here and you're closing, and you're doing your bit, mashallah. Now, Allahu Barik, you've seen massive success very, very quickly. Now, maybe the average person wouldn't see that success the same way that you've have. So what would you say to that person, maybe that's on the fence right now, just watching this, they want to get into remote high ticket sales, they're not sure what they're getting into, and they're asking that question like, I don't know, akhi, like, how fast can I get there? Is this like a good long-term path? Is this like reliable? I'm sure you probably had similar questions when you first joined.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it just goes back down to the kind of the vehicle analogy that I always kind of like to bring up, right? It's like, look, if these are your goals, right, and what you're doing right now is not getting you to your goals, right? Let's say I'm from London, my goal is all the way in Edinburgh, Scotland, right? I need a vehicle to help me get to those goals. Now, if I have an opportunity to have a vehicle presented in front of me, right, and I know this vehicle is good enough to help me get there, for example, right? And this vehicle might be, like, I've never driven an automatic car before, only had manual, for example, right? So maybe automatic car, it's a Mercedes, got different buttons, it's weird, for example, but I see this vehicle in front of me and I know it can kind of get me to those goals. I can either be like, okay, bismillah, my goal's that big, where I'll figure out along the way. And I know I've got the support to kind of help me figure out the buttons, and if there's any hurdles, I can just call someone up and they can remove those hurdles out for me, and then boom, just kind of go for it. It might not be the easiest, however, other people have jumped in that same vehicle and they've seen success. Or you can be person B, where you see all these vehicles, they keep coming up. It's a Mercedes, it's good for me to get from London to Edinburgh. But maybe next week I'll get a Lamborghini. The Lamborghini comes. Maybe next week I'll get a Lamborghini Urus automatic with a self-driver. Then you end up in this paradox where you never end up taking action. Because in this scenario, who's more important, the vehicle itself or the driver? The driver, right? And when I saw the vehicle and I knew my goals were that big enough, I said, give me any vehicle. I heard the vehicle location. I was like, khalas, bismillah. Give me another course in whatever thing and anything out there, for example. Right? I have that kind of confidence, alhamdulillah. I can make it work. But alhamdulillah, this aligned with the community even better, which is why, alhamdulillah, I chose this guys, right? So, but also at the end of the day, it goes down to that goal you have in Edinburgh. How really important is it for you? How important is it for you to actually take your kids that in a certain country and you want certain somewhere else? Really, but why is it important for you? If your goal is that big enough, you're gonna find any excuse to make
any excuse to actually get there. Probably someone who's watching this right now, they're watching this interview. Maybe they can relate to you, maybe they can't. Maybe they're in a different position. Maybe that they're a student. Maybe they're working 9 to 5. Maybe they're even running their own online thing right now, and they're in the fence of joining the Zakhwais, getting into remote high ticket sales, and they're unsure if this is the right action to take. What would you say to that person right now is on the fence?
What I would say to that person is any change that you ever make in your life is never going to be easy. So the second that you expect it or expect to find something easy, you're setting yourself up for failure, right? So in any change that you make, you have to understand, acknowledge, number one, it's going to be uncomfortable. And then number two, is it worth it for me to put myself in an uncomfortable situation for me to get this outcome? If you break down exactly your situation and this is where you want to go, you acknowledge that it's not going to be easy, but you also acknowledge that it's worth that kind of sacrifice, then all you have to do is put yourself in that driver's seat. You have to put yourself in a driver, because at the end of the day, if you have to have that tawakkul as well. Why would Allah not put you in a successful position if you've left something for His sake? It doesn't make sense. What kind of Allah do you think our Allah is, for example, right? Someone that you've left something for the sake of Allah, you've maybe invested time, of his money, whatever it may be, right? And we've done that for the sake of, why would Allah not give that back to us tenfold, whether it's our time, whether it's our money? So at the end of the day, what I would say is, yes, it's not meant to be easy. It's not meant to be, okay, cool, because you're starting from level zero, sorry. However, if the goal is that big enough for you, you practice that tawakkul, and it really shows, it really tests like your iman and your character as well, in terms of how you perform throughout this, and then plus you have to pull that trigger.
May Allah bless you, bro. You've heard it from Adam, alhamdulillah. He's came through the program. He has had massive success, alhamdulillah, and you could be next. There's no reason why you couldn't. The only thing that's stopping you right now is taking action and saying Bismillah and having tawakkul. So if you are looking to apply, if you are looking to follow the steps of Adam and many of our students that we've helped from all over the world to learn the highest leverage skill in the world right now, which is high ticket sales, then you can go in the description, click the link, apply, and we'll see inshallah if you're a great fit. Assalamu alaikum.